And we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'd like to thank everybody to coming into Coach Ali's Corner. As always, I am your host and your coach, Hassani Ali. This is a wonderful show I have for you today. A very special guest, somebody I really look up to and admire dearly for all his professional skills. But again, I want to bring that kind of professional content and professional expertise to those who are looking to become better entrepreneurs, better employees, the ones who are looking up to come up the corporate ladder, those who just want to just better their careers in general. And so, again, as you see the title, 5 resume mistakes that Black men make. This person is going to bring his expertise, as an employee and as an employer, so you'll get both sides of the spectrum and what you could do to fix your resume to help you become an ideal candidate for that dream job that you've been searching for. And without further ado, I'd like to bring the brother in, brother Antoine Wade.
What is up, Coach Ali, man? How are you? Thank you for having me on today. When you sent me the email, I was like, I got to do this. We were planning on doing it on last Sunday. We had some connection issues, but at the end of the day, we are here on a Tuesday night, and I'm looking forward to talking about this tonight, man. Thank you for inviting me on.
And you don't have to lie. My wife and I couldn't find a babysitter.
Hey, man, it happens sometimes, man.
My wife, we had clients. My wife had clients that day, and we were, all of our babysitters were either out of town or booked somewhere else, and so we were just at a flat line. But no, I'm really glad I was able to catch you during the week, and so this is definitely a good evening time show. To help brothers with some more professional content. So I'm really glad that you came on.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for inviting me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into it. So let's start with this. How did you start your company? I'll let you kind of talk about it a little bit more. How did you come up with your company concept, and how's that been going from there?
Yeah, so what I'll do, Coach Ali, is this. I'll introduce myself because I have a lot of titles, right? And many people don't know exactly the company that you're talking about here. So I'll kind of introduce that as well. Do you mind if I do that?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. That's all right.
So my, the first title I like to say is I'm a husband, married for 9 years to a Wonderful. Great wife and a mom of my kids, right? And I'm a father of 2 beautiful kids, Ariane, who is 6, and Aegis, who is 3. I am a corporate man as well, too. So I've been a professional in the supply chain and logistics industry, software industry for the last 18 years. And currently I am an area sales director for a company that is public based out of Austin, Texas. Let me just clear my throat real fast. Sorry. Okay. And I would also say I'm an entrepreneur. So this is what Coach Ali is actually talking about. So I started the company called Black Heights in 2018 after a 3-year stint living in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And I started the company because I wanted to give back to minorities in the United States. I've been able to travel the world to 57 different countries. I've talked to people, and what I recognized over time was that we're all the same. Doesn't matter what color you are, the religion, you're still going to have the same sort of problems. You're still going to have the same sort of challenges that you have to deal with. And in the corporate world, we all are looking at each other and competing and things like that. And I was like, okay, well, how can I get more people who look like me into management and leadership positions? Or how can I get more people who look like me to accelerate to make 6 figures in the corporate world? Because it is a path to success. It is a path to get you the wealth that you want to get in life. It is a path to becoming an entrepreneur. And that's kind of my story here, is I've been into it for quite some time to where I've been able to, leverage the skills that I've been given or taught in the corporate world to create a business that is giving back. And that's what Black Heights do. So we basically coach, we mentor, and we train you to climb the corporate ladder in the United States. So that's a bit about me. And also, last but not least, I am a real estate investor as well too. So, I have a lot of titles, as I mentioned, Coach Ali. But
absolutely.
I think the focus of today is really about the business of Black Heights and kind of the things that I do there. So.
Absolutely. And congrats. I wanted to say to you, could you just close on a rental property last year, didn't you?
I did, and I have two that's getting ready to be closed on in hopefully March the 17th, man.
Wow.
March the 17th. Yeah. So I'm continuing to grind at it, man. It's another way that you can actually generate additional income. It's another way that you can continue to build wealth. And it's another way that it can help you to get out of the corporate world if you don't like what you're doing in the corporate world. So
you're absolutely right.
What I do. Absolutely.
You're absolutely right. Congrats to you once again. And I'm actually in the mortgage industry. So,
yes,
if you're, I don't know if you bought outright or if you financed it, but you will be coming through me,
yes,
to make sure that thing closes. So I definitely know that process is strenuous. And so,
yes, sir.
Again,
yes, sir.
The best of luck to you, and keep being that example of generational wealth and building that wealth for yourself. That's definitely an accomplishment within itself. So kudos to you one more time.
Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that, man.
So just transitioning into the idea of the top 5 mistakes that Black men make on resumes. So, when you go for the Microsoft Word document, to getting everything down to submitting, what would you say before we get into the top 5? What would you say would be the generic idea where brothers kind of, sell themselves short when it comes to, selling their candidacy for ideal position at a company?
I would say this, Coach Ali, is that what I've seen, and this is just from experience, and I can say this, I'm going to generalize this, but I'm going to specialize on our bros. So, I see the same sorts of issues across everybody, but when it comes down to Black men, what I've seen is that a lot of times Black men just aren't ready. And what I mean by that is you can be, having a conversation with somebody that you met at a boat dock or at a restaurant and something like that, right? And they could be a young person who's looking to climb the corporate ladder or either get into a new position. And I do a lot of mentorship and things like that, right? So a lot of the times, I can say, well, here's a position that my company has open. And things like that. So, okay, can you shoot me over your resume? And literally, it takes them like 2 to 3 weeks just to shoot over a resume. Do you know that there's resumes already that are in the queue already? And if it takes you that long, 2 to 3 weeks to send over a resume, you're not prepared. So that's what I've seen over time as one of the biggest mistakes of our brothers when it comes down to the resumes. And I'll go through my top 5 outside of that, but it's just not being prepared, not having your resume updated at that current time to where when somebody asks for it, you can just flip it over to them and they can take you serious. That's what I've seen, brother.
And you know what? It's funny because I've had similar experiences even when I was finding when there's an open position at my own company. I'm like, hey, we got a new opening. I can get you in before this goes open on the market. Send me your resume really quickly, and I'll get you first in line. And then you're waiting. You never get it, and then when they submit it, they're like, what happened? I thought I had first in line. You did 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. Like a lot of people don't understand, Coach Ali, that we have to make hiring decisions pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
And it depends on your company. Your budget could be open for a week and that's it. Or your budget could be open for a couple of days. And they're like, okay, well, get as many people in here as soon as you can so that you can make the ultimate decision really fast before somebody else get my budget. Right. So you're like, okay, well, you know what? Let's flood it. Next, you have, 6 or 7 candidates. If your guy didn't get his resume in time, sorry, you missed it, man. So yeah, you're asking why you didn't get first dibs on it. Because you were too late and you wasn't prepared, man.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've seen this too, where you will get somebody's resume and you look at it, and that's all you can do is look at it because you're sitting there like, what do you do with this?
So that's my number one. Coach Ali, you're stealing from me right now, my man. You're stealing from me, right? So when you look at it, right, you're looking at it because there's something wrong with it, right? So it could be a formatting or it could be a design issue, right? It could be the fact that the letter or the paper isn't crisp. It could be the fact that it just it's too elaborate. It could be 4 pages, right? And the format, just for me, I am a big person on format. I like to do things like, keep it short and simple. So when it comes down to a resume, you typically want to have it at 1 page, no more than 2 pages, right? And, when it's short and simple, you use your typical black ink, and it's a format that just makes sense and it looks professional. If it's in the format that looks like this, I am all good for it. But when it's in the format that doesn't look professional, could be bad paper, it could be yellow paper. I like white paper. So typically anything that comes across with yellow paper, unless it's a thick piece of paper that, that it feels expensive, then I won't look at it. Right. So, and that's my personal thing. Every recruiter or people, hiring manager may not look at it that way, but that's my opinion though. So, and that's how I make a lot of decisions for the hiring positions that I have. But it has a lot to do with the format. And if it's too elaborate, I typically toss it off to the side. If the format isn't right, I typically toss it off to the side. And that's pretty much it. But you stole my number one, my man. You stole my number one.
I didn't mean I have the same sentiment, so I'm sure we're going to agree on a lot of things. And since I stole that, I actually have a question for you to answer if you'd like. Yeah. From Taboo Smash, she asked, how do you basically customize your resume to enter an industry that you've never worked before?
That is a very, very good question. So typically, you need to customize your resume for every job that you're applying for. You cannot have a generic resume. And that was, further down the list, Taboo. So it really doesn't matter of the industry. What it really does matter about is the job that you're actually applying for. So typically what happens is a lot of us, and I've been, guilty of doing this myself, when I was, searching for a job as a customer success director or a senior support manager or a software engineer or something like that, right? I would use that same sort of resume across all the different positions. And that's not what recruiters are looking for. You want to customize it to show that your skills for that position fits that position. And even if, for instance, if you're a software engineer, right, and you're looking for a customer success management position. And typically, you're going from an individual contributor to a management position. Well, you want to be able to show exactly the sorts of management that you've done over time in your career as a software engineer. So you have to adopt it. You can't just put that, okay, well, I coded in C, I coded in, VB.net, I coded in SQL and things like that. No, you want to say, okay, well, I led a team that was responsible for producing this. And that's how you adopt your resume to the specific job. And also that's going to translate to you adopting it to a specific industry. You want to make sure that you customize it to the job that you're actually applying for.
Well put. Definitely. Thank you for answering that question.
Yes,
and
sir.
So really quickly, because I know we can get into this for quite some time. So if you want to go ahead and start cracking open that top 5, we can get after it.
Awesome. So, my number one, as I kicked it off, was the format and design, too elaborate. So let me jump to my number 2. My number 2 is this, and this is a pet peeve of mine. I've seen resumes that I've been given that had, email addresses that showed Hulk Hogan 1972. Right. when you see that, it's showing your alter ego. Like, seriously, are you a Hulk Hogan 1972? That's not your name. One of the biggest things that I have is an unprofessional email address. Obviously, we were in high school at one point in time, and when I was in high school and email first came out, one of the things that we always talked about doing was, figuring out a unique email address for us. And my first email address that I had was like my initials and some numbers that I liked. Right. And it wasn't anything, extreme, but it wasn't what I would consider to be professional. And that was a Yahoo email address. Well, that was something that was done in the past. But when it comes down to interviews and it comes down to resumes, you want to have a professional email address. And Hulk Hogan 1972 does not work. It makes it seem like you don't have a professional background. It makes it seem like you don't really care. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. So when I see something like Hulk Hogan 1972 or, Scorpion Mortal Kombat, I'm tossing it off to the side, man. I'm tossing it off to the side, man. That's my number 2, Coach Ali. Anything to say about that one, man?
So let me give you some pushback, because this is actually a common one I've heard before. Is Antoine Wade at gmail.com's taken.
Yeah.
So what am I, there's 3,000 Antoine Wades. What, how am I supposed to make that stand out if, all the Antoine Wades are taken? I need something that will help me stand out.
I would say that is a good pushback, but what you can also do, even though there are, Antoine Wades and multiple Antoine Wades, I do have the Antoine Wade at gmail.com. I was one of the first ones that got that, and there's many other Antoine Wades behind me. But what you can also do is somebody already has Antoine.Wade. A lot of times when you're signing up for an email address and you type in the name, it's going to give you a recommendation. And it's going to say, okay, well, you could be Antoine Wade 112 or Antoine Wade 644. It's still professional if you have your first and your last name in it. Hulk Hogan 1972 just doesn't work. That's not who you are. That's not your name. Or Scorpion Miami Heat, 1484. It doesn't work because it doesn't show who you are, and it's not professional. So there's ways that you can actually still have a professional email address, even though many people have a similar address like you. Just use your first name, last name, or add some numbers to it or an additional star to it or something like that, and break it up. That's the way you can do it.
It's funny. I have a cousin of mine. His email address for the longest time was I forgot. And so when you would ask him, what's your email address? I forgot. And it was funny for the longest time, but I don't think he changed it until like 21, 22. But it was just one of those funny things where it was just kind of like, oh, okay, I get it. It's a play on thing, but it was pretty funny. But when I did a little bit of hiring myself, I would see like the Foxy Ladies, the Hulk Smash, Jordan fan, like I get it. It's supposed to express your outside creativity, but like you were saying, I definitely concur with it. Is that you definitely want a professional look about yourself, because that's the first thing that people see is your email address. Exactly. And if you have Silver Fox 95. That's Star Fox. I was thinking that's a video game, isn't it? But yeah, like, you don't want people to get the wrong impression of you. So
absolutely. I got to say this too, Coach Ali. If your cousin did submit a resume with an email, oh, I forgot, I may have accepted that one, man. That's funny. That's just going to show the creativity behind him, and that one may pass because that's hilarious. Oh, I forgot.
He had it for a long time, and he's still working to this day. So I guess I'm sure he's changed it by now, but high school jobs, entry level jobs. I mean, that's what he worked off of. But it was hilarious. And he's doing quite well. He's actually doing better than me for quite some time. And I was like, it must be the email address that got you in the door. But,
man, who could be doing better than Coach Ali, man? I'm glad I got you. You got me on the show, man. Come on, man. Nobody doing better than you, man.
Hey, I'm getting there a day at a time. I got miles and miles before I pull some O'Shea numbers. But we'll get there a day at a time.
It's a start, man. You got to start somewhere. It doesn't matter if it takes you 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. It's a start. You'll get there, man. Yep. Keep at it. Keep at it.
Yeah, we'll get there. Absolutely, not a problem.
Absolutely.
So that was number 2. So right now, number 1, format and design. Number 2, unprofessional email addresses. What you have for number 3?
Man, for number 3, this is a pet peeve of mine as well, too, man. And I'm saying this personally from a hiring manager and also being a CEO of a company that does recruiting, and we recruit kids out of college and we recruit kids in college as well for summer internships and things like that. Right. Is a lot of the times what you end up seeing is you see folks listing their responsibilities versus them identifying quantifiable results, right? So what you end up seeing is in people's resume, they have took trash out, worked at the front desk, was a cashier, but they don't list or demonstrate any quantifiable results. And the results meaning by the numbers that you were able to help the business with. And there's ways that you can actually do that. And what I find a lot of Black men doing, at least the resumes that I've come across, is that they don't list the quantifiable results. And they have them. Right. They just haven't been able to sit down with somebody and to talk through it. Right. So let me just give you an example. A lot of people could be a cashier, right? And if you're a cashier, a lot of people end up putting, I was a cashier and I work from 9 to 6 every single day. Well, that's just your responsibility. Nothing about that is special. But what you can do is, if you were the best cashier, let's just say that you are responsible for having, at least 8 customers within an hour. Well, let's just say your performance showed that you were able to do 16 customers in an hour, right? Your output was like 200%. You can then put on your resume that I was a 200%, increase my cashier numbers, blah, 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 right? And when you show the quantifiable results, you're actually showing to the business how much you can actually help it. Because nobody really cares about the average responsibilities that most people do. They want to see how you can actually help the overall business. Let me give you another example. In my corporate job, if I'm hiring a salesperson, what I'm looking for is not if they have soft skill training, not if they have negotiation training, not if they have Miller-Hyman's sales training. And what I'm looking for is, how have they been able to help the previous company that they've worked for? Okay, well, what was your quota attainment your first year, your second year, your third year? Or if you are a business development rep and you're responsible for getting people on the phone and to, qualify leads, then how many phone calls were you actually able to make in a given amount of time, right? And does that exceed the amount that's for the group in your group goal? Those are the things that should be actually listed on the actual resume. You want to have quantifiable results. You want to have something that demonstrates that you are going to, one, you have the skills for the job, you have the knowledge for the job, and also you have the passion for the job as well, too. So quantify results is something that I don't see a lot on some of the resumes that come through. And it's an area that you want to make sure that you're not just listing responsibilities, you are listing those quantifiable results.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's funny. I help my colleagues and friends with resumes all the time. And I told them, I was like, if you need something to set yourself up, set yourself apart from the rest of the folks, even if your job, you don't have any quantifiable results, ask a manager for a recommendation. Ask that manager to grade your efficiency rate. Yep. So if they give you a 9 out of 10, you have a 90% efficiency rate. You're not lying.
That is it. At the end of the day, Coach Ali, guess what that is? That's a quantifiable result. Even if you got it from your manager, because it has a number behind it. And it's showing you that you have a 95% pitch efficiency rate, right? Like a lot of people that I know working, I worked in the supply chain industry, and they could be working in the warehouse, right? And it's like, okay, well, how many, boxes can you pick in an hour if you're a picker? Or how many, pallets can you pull in an hour, right? Those are all results that you can actually put in your resume to get the next forklift job, or to get the next, managerial job, to get the next, a senior a warehouse management job, because you're showing that you were better than the rest and you're actually able to quantify what you're actually able to do and to help the overall business.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? And I'll share a story for myself. So are you familiar with Schwann's Home Service?
No, I am not.
Okay, so basically it's a suburban service where a guy basically drives around with frozen food in a truck.
Okay.
And I had this job, it was like one of my first jobs out of college. and I would drive through suburban, like farm town type areas, and I would go to each house, that's on my route, and I would sell them groceries, basically, because the grocery store is like 30 miles, 40 miles, 50 miles away. So you could hire this Schwann's truck to come to your house, and you can get your meats, your vegetables, your fruit, produce, frozen, of course, all types of things. Yep. And so I would, I would say about 14, 15-hour days, because you had 100 plus stops. And so what I did to cut my my time damn near by a third is I would call all my customers ahead of time and say, hey, I'm going to be at this gas station at this particular time. So that way I didn't have to drive to each house, and I was able to put that on my resume. I cut my, total driving time by 33%, because rather than going to 17 different houses and eat up the clock that way, I would just have everybody meet me at the truck, and I could just take everybody's orders there.
See, that is absolutely fantastic, man. Look at you, man. That is efficiency, not just for the business. That's efficiency for yourself too, man. You don't want to be in a car that long.
Well, trust me. I mean, when you make 100 stops at 10 minutes a piece, I felt like a FedEx person. You get in, you get out. You get in, you get out. And especially when you're in those suburban areas, mom's cooking, and it's like they treat you like the milkman. So you get a piece of cake or a piece of pie on your way out. You pet the dog. Say hello to the kids. Because you see these families once every 2 weeks. Yep. Your pipeline was about what? About 1,000 people every 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea we had that sort of a service that exists all the way back then. I don't know what back then was from a time frame perspective, Coach Ali. I don't want to date you, but I didn't know we had that sort of delivery service back then. That's almost like what AWS and what Amazon does right now, right?
Yeah, that was 2012. 2012.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, dude. That's awesome.
I was in my college town. At Mount Pleasant, Michigan. I was at Central Michigan University, and sports didn't quite cut it, and so I was looking at move to Detroit, and I was trying to make a big impression, and so I was like, what can help me stand out on these resumes? And so, like you were saying, I tried to find ways to quantify my successes, and I got a lot of feedback from that, from GM to Quicken Loans to I'm trying to think of the other. It was so long ago, but a lot of people gave positive feedback, like, "Oh wow, you really were sufficient in your route," and kind of put it in perspective that I knew how to manage time and how to be creative with my resources. When honestly, the real reason was I didn't want to drive to everyone's house.
Exactly.
I didn't.
Exactly. There was a benefit for you, but also there was a benefit for the company as well too. And you brought up a great point, Coach Ali, right? Like. And you said it already. I just want to make sure I touch on this again. A lot of the time it's very difficult for us to understand exactly what that number is, right? Talk to your manager, like Coach Ali said, right? Talk to your general manager and get that number from them. Like they know exactly why you are a good employee. You may not know it because a lot of the times we're, a lot reserved and, we don't want to toot our own horn and stuff like that. But ask somebody if you don't know exactly why you are a good worker. You know why you're a good worker. You can figure it out. But if you don't know exactly what that number looks like, then ask somebody. We measure everything these days. So there is a number that's out there that your manager can give you to help you out so that you can put on your resume, man.
Absolutely. And before we go to number 4, I was like to say, if you guys are here, make sure you guys like the video, tag a friend who may need this information. It's some very, very valuable information that our brother Antoine Wade has given to us. For those who are looking to, transition into another career or maybe get a higher paying job. But again, this content is for you. So, even if you're coming in on the replay, I would appreciate it if you just hit that like button. And really quickly, I'll let you go ahead and plug in your promo stuff. So where can people find you, brother Antoine?
Yes, you guys can find me on the Black Heights YouTube channel. On the Black Heights YouTube channel, I talk about college degrees, careers, personal finance, real estate, and soft skills. So all the things that help you climb the ladder in life to have the success that you're looking to have. And I do coaching as well too. So you can find everything on that actual channel. Click the channel, hit the subscribe button if you guys like the content. And looking forward to having you guys as subscribers if you come on over.
And let me say this, even if you don't like the content, go over to Black Heights, because a lot of times people come to YouTube to get entertained, and somebody needs to get your life together. I'm being serious, because a lot of times people come here for the entertainment and for the laughs and the ha-ha and the kikis, but you're 40 years old, still working entry-level positions. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but
right.
Go
ahead. Sorry, Coach Ellie. No, you going in. Go ahead.
I'm just saying. So if you want to make yourself better, why not go to the channels that are going to help you professionally? That's all I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with getting entertainment. Everybody loves a good laugh. I love comedy stuff myself. I love watching stand up while I'm working. And I also try to, go to an educational channel while I'm, cruising through the YouTube streets. So make sure you guys go over to Black Heights and check out Brother Antoine Wade. And shout out to Dr. D, who's in the building.
He told me to say, how's it going, man? How's it going, Brother Dr. D, man? Thanks for stopping by, guys. Absolutely.
Yep, Dr. D, you're up next. I'll be sending you an email this evening so we can get these interviews rolling. But we're going to go ahead and go to your fourth pet peeve or top mistake that Black men make when it comes to resumes.
Yeah, and Coach Ellie, before I get there, man, you hit on a couple things, right? A lot of the times, we a lot of us just have to find a balance, right? The content that I produce on the Black Heights channel is it's really around the professionalism, and I may dabble into some interesting topics here and there, but I try to put it around like soft skills and things like that. So, the biggest thing is we have time for entertainment. But if you're really looking to grow in life at anything that you do, you really have to find balance to focus on that specific thing, even if it's just, 15 minutes a day. Right. It's more than what it was yesterday. And it is something that's going to help you improve. So find the balance into the entertainment, digest some professional content. If it isn't me, it could be, Anthony O'Neill, or it could be, somebody else. But, find yourself in that sort of world to help you out and to help you have success in your life. That's another recommendation I would give on top of what Coach Ali has already said. But let me jump into number 4. One of my other pet peeves on number 4, what I would say is this: it's when I look at a resume and I see bullet points that span 2 sentences. That is a big pet peeve of mine. And what I would say my number 4 is spelling, grammatical errors, and things like that. And what I mean by things like that, it's the bullet point part that I just talked about. So nobody wants to look at a resume that has spelling and grammatical errors. If you're going to be spelling, you want to make sure that it actually is spelled spelling, right? You don't want to be missing. You don't want to be missing the I in there, right? And things like that. And what you find out a lot of times in some of these resumes is that they have spelling and grammatical errors. And a way that you can actually help yourself with that. And I've been this person as well too, because when you create your resume, you're really the only person who's actually looking at it a lot of the times, right? Before you actually send it out, or you upload it onto, some professional's website or some professional company's website. So a lot of times when you're writing it or you're looking at it, it looks like it's right. I've done that before in emails. I still do that in emails. Right. But when it comes down to a resume, you want to get another set of eyes on that resume. A person that helps me is my wife. She helps me with my emails and all sorts of stuff like that. She's a really good writer, so she'll be able to pick out a lot of the spelling or the grammatical errors that exist if you are not that great at writing, or if you are in college, right, and you are creating a resume, go to the career department and have, one of the advisors or one of the counselors take a look at your resume and read it over. And I've done that before when I was in college as well. And the career counselor did this: red mark, red mark, red mark, when I thought it was a perfect resume, right? I'm like,
Right.
yeah, this is solid. This looks good. Matter of fact, it got me an interview at a couple companies. She's going through it. Check, check, yeah, check. Red hair, red hair. You're spelling there wrong, Antoine. Instead of THERE, it should be THEIR, something like that, right? It's
Right.
those sort of things, right, where you end up looking, or your resume end up getting tossed to the side because of spelling and grammatical errors. And the other piece of it is this too, Coach LA. It's just long-winded sentences. I like the keep it simple method, where it says, if it's going to be a bullet point, it should be one sentence, short and sweet. I was able to attain 120% of my quota, or I was my pick efficiency rate was 73%, something like that, versus I picked 73% while the manager asked me this, while I did this and all of this into one bullet point. It doesn't make any sense with a bunch of commas and stuff like that. So fix that piece of it, you'll be good.
I like it. If so, from an employer standpoint, where would you say, how quickly would you say, if you were to see a resume and it had, one grammatical error compared to, 3 or 4, how quickly would you say, in comparison, would those be tossed out as far as consideration for a callback?
Well, I would say this: a lot of times when you're submitting this online, right, it's going to get tossed off to the side where a hiring manager or sometimes a recruiter won't even see it, because their software is integrated with things like Grammarly, right, to where it actually will run your resume through there to see what sort of mistakes that you actually have in contextual spelling, or and things like that your typical eye won't pick up. And if it picks up on something, it's getting tossed to the side, so your resume may not even get to somebody. So and this is another way outside of you having somebody else look at it for you. If you don't have that person in the house, then run it through a tool like Grammarly to scan your resume for spelling mistakes, or and do a spell check on it, or use Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word does a pretty good job, especially now, with being able to pick up spelling and grammatical errors and things like that.
And side hustle, fellas, for anybody who's looking for a way to make some extra income, make that a service. If you need someone to, or if you know somebody who constantly has resume updates or resume changes, or if you know that you're efficient as far as spelling and errors and grammatical sentences, make that a service for someone to say, hey, for a small amount, I'll just edit or proofread, and make that a skill that you can learn and acquire to help someone else, get a job, and and the testimonials will come easy. A simple fix, and I got a call back. Not all services have to be extravagant. When I was looking before I perfected my craft and I hired a service to do my resume, they charged me like $120. And I didn't even have that much experience back then. But, if you can, get to a point where you can charge, and I don't know, I'm not in that particular field, but you can charge, $50, to have someone to have you look at someone's stuff, maybe a good side hustle. So you want to drop that Jim, right, really quickly.
Absolutely. I think that's important, right? So I have twin sisters who are identical, and they're 30. They're not my twins, but they are twins. They're younger than I am. And they are English majors, and they're English majors from the University of Wisconsin, Madison. And a lot of the times, if I'm doing any sort of like newsletter or articles or things like that, I send it to them, and I pay them, $50 every single time that it would proofread something for me. Or even if I'm making content and I have a script behind it, I'll have them proofread it for me. So the side hustle is actually real, guys. They have their professional job, but they're good at this stuff to the where, because that's what they went to college for, and they're good at writing. So why not, pass it over to somebody who can help you out, and therefore, and if you're good at that, you can make some extra money on the side.
Absolutely. Again, there's so many opportunities to bring in extra revenue. For
Absolutely.
those who are looking to transition out of the 9 to 5. I know a lot of people in Detroit where I'm at. I don't like working for somebody else. I like to work on my own time. But they're the people who cut grass and they paint and they babysit and they DJ on the weekends, teach salsa classes, part-time plumbing. Like they literally do everything. And so if you're I'm just teasing, but if you're one of those people who just can't fathom working for somebody else, you can definitely add that to your repertoire, and helps people get hired.
It's one of those things too, Coach Ali, is it's about multiple streams of income these days, right? Everybody
Absolutely.
talks about the passive income, whether it's real estate, whether it's editing resumes. The more you have, the better you're going to be. It's so easy to make money in this world today. If you aren't finding ways to leverage your talents, right, to continue to make money, then you're shorting yourself. I mean, like the companies that you work for, they pay well, but you're going to have to conform to a lot of the things that goes on in the corporate world. So my advice is always to find as many streams of passive income. You never know, it may become a passion of yours. It could be something that just pays your grocery bills or your cell phone bill. Find ways to diversify yourself so that you can continue to bring income in and to support the family.
Absolutely. Definitely 100% behind that one. And we're going to get to our last pet peeve, or mistake, I should say, on resume. Got to get to the.
I may even do a bonus one on this one too. I may do a bonus. I may do a bonus. So and we've hit this. So I am actually going to do a bonus because we've hit this piece of it. I think the question came in from Taboo Smash when he was like, or him or her, made the question of how do you make a resume in an industry you don't have experience for someone who just left college, right? And here's what I would say to that is a lot of times we end up generalizing our resume for every single position that's out there. Taboo said when he just left college. Well, if you're a college person that don't have experience from an internship, and you're looking to get into the supply chain industry, you don't necessarily need to say that you are in the supply chain industry. You can say you have an interest in the supply chain industry, but you also have to understand exactly what the supply chain folks do at entry level positions so that you can try to, tailor the language with what you've done in college or at your previous internship to merge with that. And it could be something as simple as, if you're in the supply chain industry and you're responsible for, watching truckloads come into a warehouse. Well, you can say if you worked at a company and you drove delivery trucks, you can say something whereas I was responsible for watching the delivery trucks come into the yard, right? You can tailor it so that it actually matches to the position that you're actually going after. And a lot of the times what ends up happening, which is my top 5 or my last 5, or the number 5, I would say, is being too generalizing or too general with your resume versus customizing it to match the actual job listing. And what I would say is this is a lot of times what you end up seeing is if I see a software engineer applying for a sales job and it doesn't have anything in there about them having any sales experience, it doesn't matter if they have a sales experience with selling an idea to their team lead. If they don't have anything in about sales, then it's getting tossed off to the side because then it's too generalized, right? Or it's not specific for the actual job. And what that shows is it shows that you're pretty lazy, right? And it comes off to recruiters that you don't care about that actual position. And I've been, one to actually do that before as well, too. Being in the customer success director role, I would send my resume off to CIO positions, right? Or when I was in college, I applied for everything with a general And you would just hope that it would actually get through to somebody, and they would be like, okay, well, maybe he's not specific or he's not good for this actual role, but maybe he'd be good for some other role. But in today's world, where there's a competitive job market, if you don't tailor it, then it's going to most likely get tossed up to the side. So generalize it or make it more specific for the job that you're applying for, and that will typically get you another look in your resume, at least with me.
Right. You know what? That's a I won't say it's a fabulous top 5, because obviously it's the last 5, but I'll say that's some excellent points that you touched on. And it's funny because you said something that kind of that triggered something for me. And when you said that, based on a lack of due diligence, a lot of those things make you seem lazy.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to throw a bonus on top of your bonus, is with the lack of research. Because you've been there where if you were to get into the interview and why did you apply for this position, you could tell it was just for you were hiring.
Right.
Yes, people want a job and people want money, but people would have to the employer wants to understand how can you benefit the company, right. that you will be a commendable pick, rather than just if it was just a skilled a labor job, you can collect 15, 20 bodies to do labor, but if it's something tailor specific, or if you have a niche for a particular market, then you have to really do your research on the company and the position itself.
Exactly.
With a lot of us, and I've seen this just from brothers I've helped. I've tried to help people get into the mortgage industry,
mm-hmm.
and I had a particular friend of mine where I reviewed his resume. I looked it over once, twice, 3 times, and I was like, hey, I gave him the website to the company. Just read this, and then do your resume again and send it back to me. And he didn't really make that many changes. And I was like, you know what? Out of love, because I got to do this so you can see it, I sent his resume in. He got a phone call, and so he got the job. He did the job interview, did pretty well. But then when he got there, they asked him how was he regarding handling like confidential files, or how basically handling and managing sensitive information. And when he basically alluded that that wasn't his strength, he didn't get the position.
Oh wow. Yeah, so he didn't do the research that was a skill that they were actually looking for.
Right. And so, he had everything else, but it was just the one main point.
Yep.
That it was like, if you would have, looked into the, handling sensitive information, even if you could have, I don't want to say spin it, but, if you could have at least said, it's not my strong suit, but it's something I'm willing to learn, or something I've, will take on extra training for. But just to flat out say couldn't do it, couldn't handle it, just knocked him out of the race altogether.
Yeah. So. See, and that's that comes down to being prepared, understanding exactly what the company wants, because they have in their hiring description or in their job board, they actually have everything in it that they're looking for the most part. And they come to hiring managers like myself to figure out exactly what is it that you're looking for in the best candidate based on your experience. And they typically take to what I say and try to translate that into, roles and responsibilities that's actually for that job. Right. And if handling sensitive information is important to me, and then when the first question that I ask you is, how good are you at handling sensitive information? You say, I don't know, I'm not really good at that. Then you just disqualified yourself. Get out of here.
And that's why when I get bigger and on the stream, I'll start having the sound effects, the boom, 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 boom. So
you just got disqualified, man. That'll be a good one. You should have some sound effect for that one, man.
I'm working on it. I see a lot of these YouTubers are getting sound effects and all types of gadgets and gizmos to help their channel improve. And so I'm working on it. I'm still at the infant stages, and so I got to get that one. The boom 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 boom. I have I got
man, that's awesome.
my neighbor's kid works in the band, or he plays in the band, so maybe I'll just hire him to come play it when I need him.
There you go. Just have him in the background.
Yep, just come on in and hit your note and head on out. Or
you can have him do it one time, record it, and then just hook it up to your stream deck. And every time you push the button, it just does the same thing.
Right, true. I was just thinking for like a comedic effect, just have him come in, play his note, come on out, But
that'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious.
But yeah, I'm definitely working on it. And Taboo Smash actually came back, and he asked, or she asked, can you make an example for front end developer? And so I don't know if you knew what that's referring to, or if we need to get a little bit of clarification on that.
Yeah, so let's get a clarification on it from Taboo. I know what a front end developer is. A front end is a typically a web developer working on HTML pages and websites and things like that. I would like for it to be more specific. What example are you looking for a it is more web development front end, to be precise. I just did help desk as IT major. So are you looking for a web development job and you did help desk IT? Put that in the chat and let me know so that I can see if I can come up with an example. Or what I can do is I can send you over to my YouTube channel, and I have a link in there where if you need some help, you can get some coaching, and I can help you there personally to help you with potentially giving you the answer or coaching you to solving a problem that you may have.
Absolutely. And I did put your website in the chat. I have to go back and find your YouTube channel so I can share it and spam it out. But what I will say, speaking of the coaching, and here's something it's a pet peeve of myself, because I know I was there at one point, and at one time in my life I had to make a decision that I had to do this. And what is it about us and not investing in ourselves? What is it about not getting coaching, not getting the extra assistance, not getting the outside help to help us get us, further in our professional careers? I know money usually always play a part, as people say, but then again, when that person has, great, top of the line name brand outfits and shoes and enough to go to the bar, there's money for that. But when it comes to professional development, money's funny, money's a little tight, your prices are a little bit too high. So what is it about the lack of willingness to get professional help, especially in this arena?
Yeah, it's because we don't have the experience in doing it, Coach Ali, and we haven't been exposed to it. We haven't seen our mothers and our fathers reaching out to professional coaches to get the help they need to excel within their career. Typically, they reach out to preachers and pastors or their friends to just talk about certain things within their lives. We're not even used to people within our communities getting mental help, right? So it's something that's very, very foreign to us because we haven't seen it. And what I would say, though, is that we do have exposure to it. The majority of us, let me take that back. It's not the majority of us.
Yeah, I get you.
A good many of us have had a coach in our life at some point in our lives. We played sports, we boxed, we played basketball. And how do you become better at something? You get coached on it. You work on it in a daily basis, or you work on it on a weekly basis, or however much you're getting coached. And we just haven't been able to translate that to a professional world for us. And it's very foreign. So let me tell you about how I've gotten into coaching. I got into coaching with, by just talking to somebody on the airplane. And I was, having a conversation. He was like, what, I was asking him what did he do. And he was asking me, what do I do, and things like that. And, he said he was a professional coach, an executive coach. And I'm like, what is an executive coach? And he literally told me that he helps executives get peak performance from out of his team. I didn't know that even exists, right? So I had a couple of conversations with him, and I'm like, so tell me a little bit more about this. And he said it was more of a co-creative, problem solving type of a conversation where he does very little talking. He just asks a lot of thoughtful questions to help people gain clarity to certain situations. And that is what coaching does, right? And it helps you become a better person, helps you become, achieve the goals that you have set for yourself to get the results that you want to see in life. So I am highly, I point people towards coaching, mental health, and things like that because we all need it. We all have gone through tough times. We all have been flooded with media that tells us lies all the time. And again, I'm specifically talking about Black men on this channel, but I can tell you this: everybody needs it if you live in the United States, man.
Yep, absolutely.
So it applies to just about every single body. So don't feel like, if you're getting it, that you're an oddball, because you're not. The majority, a lot of people now to this day who are getting top performance in anything that they do, they have a coach.
Yeah, absolutely. LeBron James has a coach.
Absolutely.
For marketing, imaging. Oprah has advisors. Some of your top, big wigs in any industry has that type of additional assistance somewhere, because someone's kind of giving them the idea of where to go next.
Absolutely. Strategist. It could be, it could be a coach, could be a strategist, could be a counselor, it could be, psychologist, it could be, a reverend, whatever it is. They have people that can actually help them. But typically, if you got a coach, they have, experience in that area and can, help you become a better person, a better athlete, a better husband, a better corporate man, or a better father, right? And it's all worth the time for me, especially if you find some really good ones.
And I'll ask you this: since you've had that conversation with that gentleman on the plane, how many people have you serviced in your business? How many lives have you impacted? How many people have you spoken to? Kind of just give a rough number.
Yeah, so I've spoken to thousands of people about coaching. It's very important. I even see it as now, the coaching industry has blown up, first of all, right? And I'm very close to becoming an ICF certified coach. Obviously that is a certification, but I have been coaching for, my entire life. Typically the majority of people are coaching, and people tend to seek them out for advice, and if they like to help people. But there's a method to coaching. And a lot of people think coaching is just telling people the actual answer. You like to cook. Well, maybe you should open yourself a catering or catering company or something like that, right? Giving advice is not coaching. Asking thoughtful questions to get somebody to shift a perspective is coaching. Not saying much, but also giving somebody a little bit more clarity into their own thoughts is coaching. Helping somebody achieve it or sort through a problem in their life without really giving them the solution to it, although you may have experience with it and you may be a consultant in an area, but guiding them, in the right direction by asking thoughtful questions is what I would consider to be coaching. And the good coaches actually do that. The coaches who are pretty new to the game, they typically tell people what to do. And that's not really what I would consider to be coaching. So.
Yeah. And you know what? If you don't know, I coach, I'm the offensive line coach for a women's football team.
Oh, wow.
I'm going into my fourth season. We went to the national championship in 2019. And
congratulations, man.
Thank you. We got spanked, but we made it. It was definitely a change of perspective, because again, one thing about coaching is not necessarily the X's and O's, it's the player management.
Exactly.
And so, and for me, from coaching little kids to full adult women, you have to change, your coaching changes. And so It was from the woman who never played the sport before and had to break it down. This is football 101. This is how you do this drill. This is how you got to run through the tackling dummy. From the the lady who's an athlete who played the sport for a year or so. She's like, I know what I'm doing. And it's like, yeah, you didn't do it correctly. You're still running high. Your knees aren't bent. You're not pumping your arms, and getting people to buy in to what you're giving them to give them ultimate results. So I get exactly what you're saying, and I had to really change my coaching dynamic once I got to the semi-professional arena, because you're dealing with adults, and two, you're dealing with a really violent sport. So with football, one wrong message and that person can end up on a stretcher.
Exactly.
So I definitely get what you mean by how people changing their perspectives, because even like I was saying, even with the athletes who may think they know what they're doing, you have to help them understand, like, we need you to do it this way for your own protection and your own safety.
That's right.
I definitely get that, and I know we're kind of running on time here. Are you okay to go an extra 10 minutes?
I am good, man. I am good. I got a bonus one for y'all too, man. I got a bonus.
Okay, let's hear it. We're ready.
One of the other things that I didn't know this exists, because I haven't seen a resume like this for the last. I actually just recently saw one, but before then, I had not known that people actually put their headshots into their resume.
Really?
Meaning that they actually put a face on their actual resume. And it wasn't until I had a good brother of mine on my Black Heights show doing an interview, and he was like, Antoine, you wouldn't guess how many times I get resumes in with people who have their face in their resume. So the bonus one, guys, is this: is do not put a headshot on your resume. Your resume is not a place where it's a CV. Do not try to put your beautiful smile or your nice hair or your buff chest on there. It's no place for it on the resume. People want to see exactly who you are without actually seeing your face. They want to see how you can actually help the business without seeing how you actually look. So A bonus one is, do not put a headshot on a resume.
No, I would get it if you're into acting or something to that degree. But I guess, and I've never seen this before, but I guess why would people put a headshot in the resume? Like, you're not.
It's not common practice in the U.S. to a lot of the times to put it on there. But I think a lot of people, when they actually end up doing it, it's typically people who are lack judgment and people who are pretty egotistical. I've seen it and in multiple races, I can put it like that, where they actually would have their headshot in there. And a lot of times too, it's for people who are coming out of college that actually do this sort of stuff, right? So they're pretty new to it, and they may have been taught by somebody on YouTube that they should show their true self and put their face or their headshot within the resume, but it's not the place for it. It actually gets kicked off to the side for me.
Wow. Well, you heard it from the pro himself. Get those headshots out of your resumes. There's no reason for them unless you're trying to go into an acting career. This isn't the place for it. So again, I thank you for those additional bonuses. Those are definitely key for those who are looking to help restructure the resumes, get them more professional, more cleaned up. And again, if you need those services, do you offer resume review at your proofreading and editing?
I do not typically offer resume reviews, but I do have somebody who I can actually send it over to or advise you who to use. They are excellent at it. His name is Brother Eldred White. He is a corporate HR recruiter, and he does some recruiting for me as well, too. And he is great at reviewing resumes and things like that. I just don't have time for it. I can do it. I've seen so many of them, and I can point things out that I've seen multiple over the years, just like the stuff I just explained to you, but I don't do it myself. No.
Well, but you heard of Brother Eldred White.
Yeah, Eldred White. That is right, Brother Eldred White. He is on LinkedIn as well. You can actually type him in, and he's based out of Austin here as well, too.
There you go. So if you get what the name is, just hit up our brother Wade at Black Heights and just say, hey, what was the name of the gentleman that would help with my resume. Again, we're here to give you professional content. Again, for the brothers who are trying to make headway into the careers, whether trying to climb the corporate ladder, slow down, and or become entrepreneurs. You need these skills to help you, earn that next customer or earn that next promotion, whatever it may be. We're here, to help you get there. And I'm really thankful for you, Brother Antoine, for coming on and just giving us information, because it's something that, we sometimes don't consider, or we're too prideful to even look to seek help in order to help us get a phone call. So I really appreciate you coming on. Absolutely, man. Brother Weiss, Brother Taboo Smash, I got your email. I will be responding to it later on tonight or either tomorrow sometime. Thank you for the questions, the thoughtful questions, and I'll be in touch with you as well too, man. And so really quickly, before we get out of here, just let everybody know one more time where they can find you and what other upcoming projects you have coming up. Yeah, you can find us on the Black Heights YouTube channel. You can type Black Heights in on Facebook. You can find us on there as well. Also on Instagram. And yeah, we just look to inspire people, to help people reach the success that they want in life. And I do that by, inspirational videos or inspirational messaging or, videos about careers, personal finance, degrees and soft skills. That's what we do. So upcoming projects, Coach Ali, there's something always going on. We're getting ready to, close on 2 more properties. So that's my latest upcoming project that I have that I'm looking to get over as soon as possible. But I'm sure there is something that's on the list that I can't think of outside of that right now. Okay, not a problem. And you know what? We're definitely going to do this again, because I know you are the expert in this field, and we just need to keep having this conversation. I'm looking to have things down the line to how to get a job that you may not qualify for, how to kind of save yourself. And I'm trying to word it the right way. When you're on your last rope at the job, you need to save yourself from getting fired. Share top 5 ways to keep yourself above ground when you're when that pink slip is kind of inches away from you. So we're going to have a lot of interesting content. I know you will definitely be the expert on that. So I look forward to having you on another day. Absolutely. And, again, thank you for your time. Invite me back anytime, Coach Ellie. I really appreciate the talk tonight, being able to collaborate with you and your fans. Thank you so much for thinking of me for this actual topic. Shows that you admire the content that we put out, and thank you also for pushing out that positive content, that great message, something that is providing value to the entire world. So thank you so much, man. Absolutely. We're going to do it one day at a time, and I'm glad you're able to join me in the process. If you wouldn't mind staying after the broadcast, I just had something to share with you really quickly. But again, for everybody, like the video when you're coming out. Again, thank you for stopping by. I'm glad to provide this professional content for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Hassani Ali on Facebook, hassani.r.ali@gmail.com. And till next time, you guys have a good night, and we'll see you on the next one.